Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back, Royal Family. My name is Louis, and this is Royal Productions, of course. And if this is your first time, make sure you like, subscribe, and also share it to others if you enjoy the content. Without any further ado, let's get right into this news I have for you guys today. So today is the 29th. Okay, I'm going to cover some articles from yesterday, but today is the 29th, so we will be covering some things from today as well. So the total crypto market is sitting at 2.5, and I want you guys to really pay attention to this, okay, because this is something that's huge. All right, if you guys do not know and unaware, the total crypto market is sitting at $2.5 trillion. That's it, okay? Let's cover some of these prices really quick. We got Bitcoin at 76,000, Ethereum at 2,200. If you want to see the rest of these coins, pause it. All right, let's move into the first article I have for you guys today. So this is from yesterday. Like I said, yesterday and today I'm gonna be covering the articles from these 2 days. But basically, not a theft, but a statement inside Bitcoin's proposal to reassign Satoshi linked coins. Okay, so this is something with Bitcoin. This could help Bitcoin, and this could help them. It could hurt Bitcoin. Okay, we don't know. We'll see, but we'll read this article and see what they're saying down there. All right, next on the list is Visa is teaming up with Tether co-founder to build on-chain banks. Okay, CFTC's AI will review U.S. crypto registration applications. Chairman tells CoinDesk. Okay, make sure y'all do your taxes. All right, next up, a digital shekel is here. Israel approves its first regulated stablecoin. Okay, so we can point this to a war if you want, but this is bigger than a war. Okay, MoonPay acquires Israel crypto security firm Sodot in $100 million stock deal. Okay, and last on the list I have for you guys today is Securitized Computer Share opens path for 70 trillion US stock to move on chain. So remember, if this is your first time here, if this is your first time even knowing about crypto and you're thinking about investing, not financial advice, but as you can see here, the total crypto market is only sitting at 2.5 trillion. And as we'll cover later, this article says we're bringing 70 trillion to the market. All that coming up next right now. Alrighty. First thing I have for you guys today is not a theft, but a statement. Okay, so basically, what's gonna happen with this next fork, I guess you can call it, is they're proposing to use Satoshi Nakamoto linked coins and creating a fork from Bitcoin. So in August, basically, a planned August fork called eCash would copy Bitcoin's ledger and give existing Bitcoin holders equivalent balances on the new chain while diverting 500,000 forked coins attributed Satoshi Nakamoto to early investors. So 500 isn't a lot, but the biggest thing I have about this is the whole idea of forking. Like, I think that it was created the way it was created for a reason, and people trying to go back and touch some of these coins that might be lost or might be Satoshis or anything like that. Like, the second key point right here is exactly how I feel about it. But critics say that the plan violates Bitcoin's core ethic of invaluable property rights by reallocating Satoshi famously untouched holdings on a forked chain, even though it does not move any actual Bitcoin. So again, this is kind of like having paper cash on Bitcoin to the point where the original wallet of Bitcoin isn't being moved, isn't being accessed, isn't being used. So what they're trying to do is create a fork on top of Bitcoin so it can be accessed, can be used. I think that goes against the original core principle. Okay, and we're not just talking about property rights. We're talking about like control, we're talking about manipulation and things like that. I personally don't like this, but this could either help the market or hurt the market, but we'll see. We'll just have to wait around and see. But yeah, links will be down in the description down below. Okay, next article. So Visa is teaming up with Tether co-founder to build on-chain banks. Now this is big for me because you guys know I've said negative things about Tether. Well, not even negative, just neutral. Like, the facts speak for itself. They don't want to be audited by America, then I guess that's just a big FU to America, you know what I mean? And they're going to continue doing business, as we can see here. So Visa is teaming up with them to create an on-chain bank, basically. So Visa is working with blockchain-based stablecoin infrastructure firm WeFi to build on-chain payments and banking services. So this has been the biggest thing for the last, I think, a couple of years. When we always hear about liquidity, when we talk about payments, when we talk about banking services, it's all based around this. Once you get the payments rails going, everything else follows suit. Okay, everything else. This is the biggest thing that they have to focus on now. So the Clarity Act and all this stuff, I think is going to be pushed like down a little bit, you know, because this is a lot happening, and a lot of people don't understand the new infrastructure of what's about to happen with the market. But okay, we're moving on. All right, so basically, next article I have for you guys is CFTC's AI will review U.S. crypto registration applicants, and chairman tells CoinDesk. So basically, do your taxes, y'all. Be aware of you know, the Fed and all these people. They're paying attention to the tokenomics of crypto, okay, and they're setting up the guidance and stuff like that. So just be aware that they are paying attention. They're in the game now. The institutions are coming, the big banks, all the alphabet companies, okay. So this is no more just retail playing around, meme coining, making money, and diverting, reallocating your assets. You have to do your taxes for them if you're doing some of these legal transactions, or even illegal, okay. Be aware of the laws that come around and are going to be enforced in the future, so you don't get in trouble, okay. So basically, the CTFC is building a tool to use artificial intelligence to review registrations, applications, and monitor trading. So that's the biggest thing about it. You know, with blockchain technology and how fast it is, 24 hours, it's going to be hard for actual individual or people to monitor these transactions, okay. So they're going to implement artificial intelligence. That's why artificial intelligence is so big right now, because it goes hand in hand with the new infrastructure. I'm not going too far into quantum computing, but we're talking about millions of transactions per second around the world that need to be verified, but also kept track of, not by humans, but artificial intelligence, okay. So not financial advice, but the artificial intelligence bubble, I think, is still gonna boom a little bit, okay. Moving on. This is huge for me because there's all this talk about Israel. We got the war, you know, Trump bombed him the first time around when he first came into office, and it just, you know, like, you have to understand that some of these things that happen around the world are bigger than just these articles, okay. I'm pretty sure if you did some more research into Israel and what's been happening with them, it's gonna be based off of the oil, the transactions, and who controls that. That's basically what I say. It's not about money no more. It's about control. To me, that's what it's about now. There's nothing else, just control. But a digital shekel is here. Israel approves its first regulated stablecoin. So again, like, we have to understand who Israel is and what Israel is. So if they're barely still getting their first stablecoin, you have to think about the whole market, okay? A lot of these countries have to have a stable coin or a CBDCs or something of sort so they can be in the game. Okay, they could use someone else's stable coin or another country's stable coin, but this is supposed to be interoperable to the point where you have your own system already set up, but it's able to move on chain and work with other systems that are not similar to yours, but are on chain as well. You get me? So we have to remember, Korea is different from China. China is different from America. Russia is different from Israel. And, you know, you can go down the line to the point where the regulations have to be different, but also the same in order for this to work. Okay. But basically, the BILS was developed in collaboration with Solana. Pay attention to that. Solana Network and crypto custody heavyweights Fireblocks, with auditing oversight provided by Big Four consultancy firms in the EY. So yeah, they're moving forward with their shekel, and I think this has been the biggest thing, you know what I mean, because I just think the war is a smokescreen, but that's my opinion. But anyways, moving on to some more Israel news. Okay, so yeah, this is incredible, like I said. But MoonPay acquires Israel crypto security firm Soldat in $100 million stock deal. So you connect the dots. You understand what's truly happening, okay? Don't get caught up in the drama and the smokescreen of politics, war, and stuff like that. Understand that there is a bigger agenda at hand here. But basically, MoonPay acquired Israel's crypto security startup Soldat for about $100 million to launch its new MoonPay institutional unit. So as you guys can see here, this came out on the 29th, right? and then this came out on the 28th. So a day after this news dropped, you have this news dropping. So remember, all this stuff I think is structured. When we get these articles, it's already passed. Okay, so yes, I'm covering the information and giving it to you guys now, but some of these things to invest in or get your hands on, it's already passed once the article comes out. Okay, you got to be ahead of the news. You got to look down the line at this news and be okay, what's next? Okay, like we saw here with the artificial intelligence. If the government is going to be start using AI and this type of technology, this would be a good bet in the future. Maybe precious metals, because you need precious metals to build these things, but it's up to you to figure out what you want and what's your risk. All right, talk to a professional if you have to. But basically, the Israel conflict, I think, is a smokescreen. Okay, last thing I have for you guys today is, like I said in the beginning of this video, this total crypto market is at 2.5 trillion. Okay, now Securitized Computer Share opened a path for 70 trillion US stock market to move on chain. Okay, you mentally have to look at some of these prices of these coins. Okay, you have to do your research and understand which ones are going to be around, which ones are going to help with the allocations of some of these real world assets, some of these US listed stock firms and tokenized shares. Tokenized shares means they're going to be moved on to this market. So when you're talking about 70 trillion being brought onto from the US stock exchange onto crypto, you know, like, so many people are not paying attention to this, but it's happening. It's happening. And this is only the US listed tokenized markets. Okay, this is only one part of it, but this is going to be huge for the future. You're still early, not financial advice, but do your research and understand what's going to happen with this market and you know, the future of finance and just how we're moving from a debt-based system to the credit-based system where it's like level playing field. That's why they always say you either have the capital to move things or you don't, and that's the end of it. My name is Louis. Hopefully you guys enjoy the content. Until next time, peace.